Emma insisted Bubbles came in the video. Not sure there's room for 3 here. Should I get room for him?
Thank you. Thank you.
There we go. Okay. So we have just driven out of Scotland actually yesterday. We've spent 3 weeks doing van life in Scotland. So we went to Skye, did the NC 500. We drove down through Glencoe. We went through Aviemore. We did Cairngorms National Park. Loch Lomond. I said Skye. Lomond.
No, Lomond.
Lamont. It's like... Okay, I don't know. You know the one. And we just thought we'd recap because it's obviously a really popular route to do. There are definitely some things that we were surprised by. And yeah, we want to share our favourites and our favourite spots. Emma.
And Bubbles.
Emma and Bubbles. Describe Scotland in 1 sentence.
Ooh. Some of the best roads I've ever seen in my life. Probably because we spent most of the time driving, but
we have done, I think on my clock I've done like 1,800 miles in the last 3 weeks. So we've driven a lot. I would have to agree with that.
Bubbles agrees.
Bubbles, is that a yes or a no? Lovely. So Bubbles is 17 and I took him on this adventure to get all the Scottish mountain air and been in a few locks, haven't you, mate? Second question. Favourite 3 spots? What were your favourite 3?
Aviemore. Aviemore was just my favourite.
Agreed on that one.
I could have stayed there forever. Like if I didn't have somewhere to be, I think I'd still be in Aviemore now.
Yeah.
Aviemore.
So that's a town in Cairngorms National Park. It's just like a centre for climbing. I think it's like the climbing capital maybe of Scotland. I might be wrong. But there's lots of outdoor adventure. There's skiing in the winter. It's a very active, lived-in town. And we had insane weather. That played a huge part.
It was really good weather. Same with Skye. So Skye would be my second place.
Yeah.
But we had really lucky weather, didn't we? I don't think everybody's that lucky. But the drives in Skye, they were just driving into the mountains and then staying in the mountains as well. I loved it there.
Number 3?
What was the famous road that we didn't realise we were on?
Glenative, I think.
Yeah. We had no idea we were on that road. And when we Googled where we were, it was one of the most famous or best.
Wasn't it in James Bond or something, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah. We were literally driving, there's this road that we actually, in my research didn't come across, and we were driving from Glasgow up to Fort William, and there's this drive that is...
Oh, it was insane.
Insane. I actually didn't even take any photos or footage because this little pup wasn't very well. So
got lots of pictures of Bubbles.
Got lots of pictures of Bubbles. Oh yeah, no, we've got that little clip actually of us having our dinner.
As well.
Yeah, Bubbles had his first skateboard session there.
And probably last because he didn't like it.
Yeah, I would have to actually agree with those 3.
Yeah.
Glenative, that drive, Skye, like that drive down from Staffin past the Old Manor Store at sunset.
Oh my god, that was
That
amazing.
was dreamy. And then Aviemore was insane. And I also loved the white beaches on the NC 500. So what was that? Upmelovich or something beach, the famous white beach, but that's not the only one. There's actually like quite a few white sand beaches along the NC 500. Bubbles, what were your favourites?
One with the most biscuits.
Something you didn't expect about road tripping in Scotland?
Oh, the midges. Obviously I expected them because I knew they were there, but they attacked me. They took me down.
See, this is why we wanted to actually get on camera together, and I'm really grateful that Emma... We didn't introduce ourselves.
Hi.
I'm Mollie and this is Emma.
And this is Bubbles.
This is Bubbles, yeah. We actually have the same vans, but anyway, we'll link my van handle and Emma's van handle below if you want to follow our adventures. Midges. So this is a controversial topic because when I put something out on Instagram, people were either one end of the spectrum or the other, and said that the midges were dependent on the temperature, the wind levels, the west coast or the east coast. Some were like really attacked in July. Some were like, I've just been and it's fine. Here, Emma got
eaten.
I didn't get any until we got to Aviemore. Well, no, I had a couple, but midges, they tend to bite, and then in the morning the bite's gone, and for me it didn't itch, it didn't scratch, it didn't hurt. and they weren't visible for very long at all, even if I did get some.
I think it was horse bites, you know.
Yeah, because the ones I got in Aviemore on the
Yeah.
lake weren't midge bites.
No, I think I might have got that wrong. I think the midges were like the little itchy ones that went down really quickly.
Yeah.
And then the horse bite ones for me were just, they were like that big, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, you had a few belters
And
on the old feet.
sandflies. I think sandflies on one of the beaches. We stayed at a beach and we seemed to all have them around our ankles, which I reckon was just the flies in general then.
Yeah,
You
and
don't.
actually when we were on the top of the North Coast 500, it was so windy, like particularly when we got up to John O'Groats, and one of the benefits of so much wind.
No
There's
flies.
no flies and no midges. So it's really dependent. I think when it's the worst we had it, I think, was when we were near the ferry pools. That was one of the worst nights because we were near water. The weather was still, like the wind was still. It was warm, and I think that's their favourite place to be.
And even when we were getting into the ferry pools,
Yeah.
they were just everywhere.
Yeah,
weren't
yeah, they were,
We
weren't
just
they?
dived. Good way to get into the cold water. Just
Yeah.
be surrounded by midges.
Get in the water.
And then
'Cause
you get in.
something I didn't expect. There were some angry locals. Which
Bubbles is
I'm
reacting
gonna.
to that.
Bubbles is like they were angry, weren't they? I can see why. So on the NC 500, that's the most popular route, and that's where we came in contact or in the environment of some very frustrated locals. I think probably there's a few, there always are, van lifers that take the pee and leave their rubbish, leave their toilet roll, use locals' bins, are really noisy, maybe park, I don't know, but I think we obviously didn't do the latter, but we experienced some looks, some comments just because we were in a van. But to be honest, that's not even just Scotland, that's kind of anywhere, isn't
it's
it?
everywhere.
But I didn't expect it to be so intense. But yeah, something you would do differently next time if you were going to go and road trip Scotland again.
Get more water, or like have more places in my van to store water. So I usually stay on campsites. Well, I've done some wild camping, but mostly always on campsites. But obviously because you can wild camp in Scotland, we wanted to make the most we wanted to make the most of the amazing scenery. But going a couple of days with my water supply was really difficult. So
Because you've got how much?
We've got 10 litres, but then I've also got some like bottles and containers and stuff, but it was just
So like
nowhere near enough.
an extra container.
Definitely.
Or a bigger tank.
Definitely. Bigger, I think just more of everything. That's
Yeah.
something I'm going to build in my van when I go home. Just so much more water. Because you want to be able to wild camp.
Yeah.
And you don't want water to stop you.
So I'm going to link the Visit Scotland website below. I do believe camping, like tent camping, is legal in Scotland, and like van camping, wild camping, is tolerated. Not actually sure if it's legal, but I know it's tolerated and it's very much welcomed. And there are actually, we did stay in a couple of spots where the council, I guess the council, are trialling, one night stays. There'll be a sign in the car park and it says you can stay here for one night, just please respect it and please move on. But yeah, there are such, you want to get up, baby? There are such beautiful spots to stay. I think we only stayed on 2 nights on a campsite.
Yeah.
Because we've both got solar, so it's a dream if you've got an off-the-grid setup. But if you do, make sure you've got enough water, because there's not as many places to fill up your water. And obviously, going to the supermarket and getting bottles of water is really not good for the environment. So you want to make sure that there's taps. I've actually mapped all of the places that we filled up, all the places we stayed and all that. So you can see the Google Map legend below in the description. So you can see all of our top tips and places we went along the way. But I have 40 litres, and I was actually fine. I have 40 litres and a spare 10 handheld one. Handheld one's good actually, because you can go into restaurants, whereas if you need a tap to fill up your like internal tank,
you can't.
it's a bit more difficult. Whereas if you've got like a backup, maybe 10 litre water thing, you're not going to run out of water. I would probably allow more time for the NC 500, not the NC 500, but I think the places that I loved the most on our Scotland trip were the places where we didn't need to leave, because we could just enjoy it. And we basically did the NC 500 in like 4 or 5 days. It was like, it's a lot of driving. I I was kind of surprised at how much it was just about the drive, not just about the drive, but 70% about the drive and the roads, which are insane.
To be fair, we didn't have very good weather. It was, I don't know if anybody does when they do the North Race 500.
No.
That it was very, very windy, cold.
And also, the days we did the NC 500, the weather wasn't great. So when we were doing long drives, I remember the sun was like coming in and coming out, coming in and coming out behind the clouds. And when it did come out and it like illuminated some of the white beaches, we were like, whoa.
But when it was kind of all clouded over,
yeah,
they're still amazing. They still look beautiful, but sun just makes everything look a little bit nicer.
And I guess if you have more time, you've got more chance of getting the sunshine.
Yeah, that's very true. We did do it quite quick.
We did. We powered through that.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I'd do it slightly longer, maybe a couple of days.
Yeah, a couple of days extra. And the last question, because we've got a sunset to see. We've got about 10 minutes, 15 minutes before sunset. Top tips. Give us your 2 top tips. Things you must take, I don't know.
I'd say this may not just necessarily be for Scotland, it may just be for van life in general, but I think because Scotland had so many beautiful things to see everywhere you went, so many hikes, so many places to stop by, plan more the day before.
Yeah.
Like, I think we woke up on so many days just being like, oh, what should we do today? Opening up Google and being like, oh my God, there's so much to do.
And the signal drops in and out quite a lot. Like in the mountains, depending on where, if you're wild camping.
Yeah.
The signal is sometimes really good, sometimes not. And if you're leaving the planning till the evening and you've got no signal,
that
you can waste time. Yeah.
But I never really plan that much when I travel, but I think if I did it again, I'd have more of these are the things that I want to see at this part of the route.
Yeah.
And actually just set more of an itinerary. Maybe we were a little bit too relaxed.
Yeah.
Sometimes we didn't start the day till like 12 and then we were trying to cram everything into the afternoon. And then the second one I think would be, just really, really have a look at where to stay, because it's such an amazing thing to be able to camp at these incredible spaces, like to camp on the beach fronts and everywhere. So just have an idea of where to stay, which I'm sure you'll share anyway, and make sure you get there in good time because it was busy, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that's actually a good point with wild camping. If you are wild camping and you're in peak season, we're just before peak, and actually we didn't have a problem.
No.
But if you're wild camping, you might want to turn up earlier. And if you are staying on campsites, they are quite limited along the way, really, aren't they?
They were all booked up. There was a couple of nights where we were desperate to have a wash.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get into any of the campsites.
But then a couple of nights where we actually did turn up. So I think it's a little bit hit and miss, yeah. But if you obviously need electrics and do you want to go for a walkie? We'll wrap up.
He's ready for the sunset.
He's like, come on, sunsetting, girls. Yeah, book up your campsites. Any other tips? Maybe download your Google Maps. So if you do lose signal, you've got the Scotland area downloaded on your maps. If you're working off-grid, we had routers. So if your mobile signal doesn't work, you can have your router on a different network so that you've still got internet. Avon, is it the Avon
spray?
So soft spray or something.
Yeah.
That's what everyone recommends, and it's actually in the mountain shops around here. So I think that's a green light for midgie repellent. Anything else? Any other tips? I'm gonna put them all into travel guides, all into blog posts. So if you're watching this and you want to know more information, or you're just like, help me plan my trip, look to the description and I will share all of our tips. I'm going to leave you now. We're going to go and watch the sunset, and I'm going to leave you with some of the footage from our trip. We will see you soon, won't we?
You're my sunshine every morning, light up every moment, make my every dream come true. Oh, I can't describe it. Took my tongue and tied it, sent my heart over the moon. It come fly away with me. Imagine all the things that we could see. Yeah, don't you know that life's a dance? Come take my hand and fly away with me.
Oh man, stop. Nailed it.
Come